YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. We got Week 15 power rankings updated every Tuesday afternoon. Your team wins, they go up. They lose, they go down. They get hot, they're going to soar up. That's how it works here. They're not end-of-the-year predictions. We'll get to those playoff predictions. Maybe we'll update those this week. But, yeah, join us for all that great content, even in the offseason. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Follow our Twitter. Link down below for that. It's a must-follow. Much appreciated if you can help us out. The Jags sit at 32. They cannot get any offense going. Do they even want to win? Moving on. Texans at 31. Davis Mills looked pretty decent against the Seahawks. The production didn't match the points. The points didn't match the production. So I wish they could have done a little more there. I got to scoot up a little bit. But, Texans at 31. The Lions, all these teams are kind of in the same boat. Somewhat recently, 2 weeks ago, the Lions beat the Vikings, so that's what kind of got them up, and I didn't really feel a reason to move them down. It's close, though. The Texans could have the Texans hop them at any given time here. Jets at 28, so real no changes here. The Giants go down 2 spots. Let me show this next one. It's a rare occasion where a team lost and I moved them up. Chicago Bears. Well, it's mainly because the Giants can't really compete with anybody right now. They're very beat up, one of the most beat up teams in football. There's no exceptions here in these power rankings because that would be for every single team because every single team's beat up. We'd have a mess. We'd have a big old mess here. The Bears, they put up 30 points on the Packers. They put up a good fight. I actually, believe it or not, I actually thought the game plan was pretty solid. They understood that the Packers defense is getting better, but if we get the ball in space underneath, across the field, that's kind of the way we could take advantage of this defense and throw them off a little bit. Something that not too many other teams. Surprisingly, the Vikings and the Bears were the teams that were kind of scoring points in the Packers here. But then you can, the game plan was all right, but then you can rip a guy like Nagy for not going on 4th and inches towards the end of the game. But, it's more so the Giants can't really put up a fight with anybody right now. The Bears scored 30, put up a fight against the Packers. So, yeah, I thought it just felt to me that the Bears should be a spot ahead of the Giants here. So that's the reason for that. Panthers down 1 spot. What a mess it is over there. I talked about it in the recap. They had a shot to win that Falcons game. They pulled Cam when they shouldn't have. It was a big mess. They put him back in. He was not throwing the ball too well, but he's running all over the Falcons. Understand what's working in the game. Winnable game, and they created a mess. Raiders, they were at the top of these rankings at one point, starting the season off strong, and typical Raiders, really terrible the second half of the year. They're really playing some bad football. Derek Carr's not playing well. There's not much in the passing game. Offensive line's not playing well. There's no running game. The defense is definitely getting worse by the week, so they're down 5 spots to number 25. Unfortunate there. Saints finally got a win. They're up 3 spots to 24. Big game against the Buccaneers this week on Sunday Night Football. They seem to have a good matchup in their favor against the Buccaneers. We'll see if that continues here. Falcons move up 1 spot. They got a win against the Panthers. The Seahawks, another win. They beat the Texans, go up 1 spot. Like to see them getting some offense going. I'm impressed with Rashad Penny. Good to see him healthy. Steelers down 4 spots. Steelers are tricky. I think we're all guilty, including myself, for a little bit there of just remembering the second half of that Vikings game, which was impressive. Impressive. The Vikings are letting everybody come back, though. Some teams take it, some teams don't. Now, 29-point deficit would have been special there, obviously. But we got to remember what happened in the first half there. Steelers look like one of the worst teams in football there, so they got to put it together here. Really underwhelming this year. So they're around 4 spots here to 21. Eagles had a bye, so nothing they did. We'll just kind of show these next 2 teams in the same boat here. Vikings up 3, beating the Steelers. Impressive first half. They kind of try to choke that game, even though they completely outplayed their opponent. The Browns also tried to choke against the Ravens. They got a good win against the Ravens. Eagles didn't play, so it's nothing they did. But the Browns and the Vikings getting some decent wins, some solid wins there. Kind of had to move up ahead of them. Well, the Steelers dropped down below them, so therefore 1 spot down. So nothing the Eagles did. Big game against the Washington football team this week. Speaking of the Washington football team, they're on 4 spots. A good comeback against the Cowboys there, but they had a real sloppy game. Just couldn't really play their game because they started so sloppy. The run game, Antonio Gibson was not a factor, which is a big part of their game because how sloppy they played early in the game. So that was a little unfortunate, but they're fresh off a win streak still, so they can really turn around. It's a huge game. 17 versus 20, Washington versus Eagles this week. Somebody could possibly sneak into playoffs there. Number 16, the Broncos beat the Lions. They're up 2 spots there, and they'll play a huge game against the Bengals this week. Dolphins stayed put at 15. They're remaining on that hot streak, even though they had a bye week this past week, and a good chance to continue that win streak going against the Jets. The defense is playing some real good football. We'll see if that continues. Bills down 2 spots. A great second half for the Bills, but just can't get these statement wins. They can't get the game plans together. They can't get a running game together. It just takes too long to adjust in these games. Again, great second half, but they got to get one of these wins here. So it's been an unfortunate season for the Bills. Bengals go down 4 spots. Winnable game against the 49ers. They're just too sloppy. Some muff punts. Couldn't get much going on offense early in that game. Weren't attacking downfield for some reason. And then got the ball first in overtime. Couldn't get the job done. So it's just one of those games, that type of game like that, it felt like, even though they lost, it felt like the Bengals should be the better team. They probably are the better team, but they actually have to. It's not a good thing. They have to go out and do it. They have to go out and execute. So you start to question the Bengals' consistency because they get pretty hot and look like one of the better teams in the AFC, and then they get very cold, and you can't really trust them. They have a good defense. They have the big-time players on offense. They got to just put it together here and stay consistent. It's a young team just turning around, so I guess that it's somewhat okay. It's never really okay. It's the NFL. You got to win every year. Every year you want to win, but a little disappointing there. 49ers take down the Bengals, and they'll go up 4 spots, 12. Pretty good defensive performance early on. The offense executed in overtime there, so they're back up here in this range to number 12. Ravens down 5 spots. Yeah, it's just been super unfortunate. A lot of injuries. A lot of teams have a lot of injuries, though. So, again, no exceptions in a system like this because there would be a big old mess. The Ravens almost came back, but another disappointing outing. They're down 5 spots to number 11 there. So they got to turn things around right now. Looking at these AFC teams, there's a lot of good teams. Looking at the rest of the schedules, it looks like the Ravens could be out of this thing. They could be out of the playoffs, so they got to figure something out fast here to turn things around and get back in the playoff conversation. Colts remain at 10. They had a bye. They got a big game against Patriots this week, Saturday night. Very much looking forward to that one for sure. Chargers up 5 spots. They're starting to stay consistent a little bit. They're going to play the Chiefs on Thursday night. That's a good game. A lot of good games this week, and a lot of playoff-type games here. So Chargers impressed. They played the Giants, but impressed with their offense. Going against a good Giants defense, they diced them up there. Justin Herbert had a really good game. I like to see them. I like seeing them finally stay consistent here. So they're at 5 spots, number 9. Cowboys got a good win a much needed win against Washington, division game. They were kind of hot. They took care of business in this one. They were a little sloppy. Let them come back. Really liked the way the defensive front played. They remain in the top 8. Rams go up 4 spots to number 7. They get a statement win, a big-time win against the Cardinals. It's been some time since they got one of those because, week 3 against the Buccaneers really was the only one. And they started, the last several games, they lost a chunk of them, obviously. And they go to Arizona, Monday Night Football. Last Monday night game did not go well. That was the 49ers game. Last couple primetime games have not gone well. But they go to Arizona without the best cornerback in football, without their right tackle, without their tight end, without their running back. And they outplay the Cardinals by I don't want to say a good, but I think by a good enough, obviously, amount there. I thought they really outplayed them, and that was an impressive, much needed win, statement win. So they're going to go up 4. They're going to go up 4 spots to number 7 here. See if they can stay consistent. But that was an impressive one there. 6 Titans up 1 spot. They pitched a shutout there against the Jaguars. Held them to 0 points. So just up 1 spot here. Cardinals will go down 3 spots. Still feel like they're a top-tier team. They're tricky, though, because, well, first off, why are they playing so bad at home? But second, you see, like, the first drive of the game, it's just like, they got a second and they had 2nd and 21 in their own end. They're executing on these third downs. They're getting down the field, and then they have kind of wide open guys that, Murray is as good as plays he makes. He misses, and then and they kick a field goal. Next drive, they're doing the same thing. It's just so beautiful. Kyler Murray getting out in space, throwing on the run, running, some really good catches. James Conner making some good plays. And then they get a bad interception. It's just like they for a second there, for more than a second, they look like the most dominant offense I've seen in some time. Just who is going to stop this? There's just so much you got to worry about. And then there's just a lack of execution in some, blatant spots where it needs, that should be routine execution. And that kind of happened throughout the game where it's like beautiful drive, beautiful, play calls, play designs, execution, and then all of a sudden the execution just stops in crunch time. So you don't worry about in the level of, you worry about in the level of, a contender, maybe losing that 1 seed. Can they get it back? How will they be in the playoffs? Because they need to execute every single time. So, again, 1 second looking like the very best offense, like impossible to stop, and they kind of shoot themselves in the foot a little bit. So that's something that, you wondered about the Cardinals on the stretch of the season that kind of popped up last year. They feel like a lot better, though, this year, so I don't think it's really the same. They're down 3 spots. Still feel like a very good, top-tier team here. Chiefs up 1 spot. It's hard not to move the Chiefs up more. It's just tough to put them ahead of who's ahead of them, but it's a dominant win against the Raiders. They continue to streak. Defense is playing out of their minds. Offense had a good outing as well. Chiefs are back. They are back. They're rolling. They're up to 4. I mean, they were down in that 16 range, because they were losing games, and all of a sudden they're turning around here. Patriots remain at 3. They had a bye week. They're on a roll. They're playing like the best defense in football. Offense is getting better. They wear you out. They run the football. They had a huge game against the Colts Saturday night, 3-10. I am looking forward to that one. The Bucs getting a statement win against the Bills. I mean, they dominated this first half. They did let them creep back in, but that first half, it was just too much for the Bills. They were kind of playing games with them. They were kind of working them underneath, whether it was the run or getting the ball in the flat to Fournette or any of the receivers. And then kind of make them change their game plan, change their defense, creep up, throw the ball over the top. Tom Brady making some ridiculous throws. Just a mixture of running game, pass game, everything, getting pressure. The second half, they let up a little bit, but that's a statement win for them. They just look like, it's that Super Bowl contending Tampa Bay Buccaneers there. So they're up 2. I thought they were going to lose that game. I thought it was it's not a pick I would have made, maybe in a Super Bowl. Probably Bucs-Bills, I would have picked the Bucs, but regular season game, I think a little bit of a trap game, maybe not the best matchup in the regular season. I thought the Bills might win. It was a bold pick, but Buccaneers go out there and pull it off there. Impressive, mainly in the first half. And then the Packers remain at 1. A little sloppy. I didn't. There's no reason to move them down, but a little sloppy. You see, so it reminded me a little bit of the past year's defense, which we haven't seen any of that this year. They get a new defense coordinator, Joe Barry, and things seem different, even with some star players out. It just seemed a better game plan, better concepts out there, and players playing well. We even out star players. But in the past, they kind of give up those big plays, those underneath plays that should be routine. Let them get 5 yards, but they see like the screen passes, the underneath plays. They were kind of giving them up again. So maybe that's the way to play against the Packers defense. We'll see. Offense took them a little bit to get going, but they really got going then. And defense still made plays. A pick 6, strip sack, set them up, interception late as well. But the offense really got going. You see, they can adjust. They're as good. Rodgers and company as good as anyone at adjusting properly. In that one. So that was impressive. They started a little slow there, but the Packers remain at 1. Yeah, we got. I think the top 5 are kind of in a not a way out in front. But I think the top 5. I think at any given time, I really think another week of performances. I think the Cardinals could be at 1. That's kind of how I feel. The Titans were the best team in football at one point, so again, they're not too far off. The Rams, what I saw last night without star players, very, very impressed. Stafford, very impressed with him. So the Rams definitely can sneak back in. The Cowboys is about staying consistent because they got an explosive offense. We know that. They got an explosive pass rush, defensive lines, playmakers in the back end. It's just like kind of being on the same page at the same time is kind of the. It's not too much. It's not a big concern. It's a concern when we're talking Super Bowl. Can you get the Super Bowl? Offense and then that pass rush, those playmaking defense on the page at the same time, and sometimes it's one or the other. Yeah, so I'm really impressed with a lot of these talented teams here. Week 15, some big-time games. Big-time game on Thursday, Chiefs-Chargers. Some big-time games on Saturday and Sunday, of course. And then we got Bears-Vikings on Monday, which isn't really a big-time game, but expect to see some entertainment. Vikings get a lead. They're going to blow the lead. Will the Bears take advantage? That's the question there, because you know it'll happen. So looking forward to all those games. That is my power rankings for Week 15. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. We're always talking with you on Twitter. A lot going on there. Link down below for that. Check it out. Give us a follow. Much appreciated. Also much appreciated if you like, subscribe, turn notifications on. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.